Well, we've been asked to provide a little information or guidance on creating logos for landscape design practices. Here's one that I'm playing with. Let's imagine that the company is called Knobbly Rush and our catchphrase, if you like, is sustainable landscapes. I'll just turn off our warning for the moment. And the company specialises in constructed wetlands, in designing landscapes that are sustainable. So what we're searching for is a graphic that does that. So this company may well make constructed wetlands, various phases in constructed wetlands. They're likely to use riparian species along a bank edge. So what I've done is used polyline and created a filled area that represents water. Clearly the sun is going to power everything, so I have a rather abstract sun. I've used the tool in gCADPlus as far as text is concerned, and I've put true type text around an arc, and that's this piece of text here. You can actually rotate it around as you see, just by moving the handle. I've put everything on layer 0. That's going to make it a little easier to manage when we're using this logo, maybe in a drawing sheet in layout space or whatever. You've got, in a design like this, you will need to use our tools and draw order. Notice this grass spear here runs across the block containing the rectangle containing the text sustainable landscapes. Here's another example of it there. So we'd need to go tools, draw order, and send under object. So I'll pick that green thread and this green one, hit enter, and now the reference object will be the rectangle there. Now those spear-like, grass-like lines, the leaves of the grasses go behind. So I'm trying to minimize the number of fonts that I'm using. I only have one font here. If we look in format and text styles, I've got a hand font and a hand bold font. So the same font has been used over the whole design, and that helps integrate the design. The other thing is remembering that mostly this logo is going to be used on, say, an A3 sheet, which is 297 high or 420 wide. We want the size of this image to be appropriate when we're bringing it into title block areas. So if I take the measure tool for the moment, you can see I've set up a containing rectangle there that's about 90 millimeters high by about 140 millimeters wide. So that gives me a reasonable size so that I can use this block and insert it in other drawings. Because it's going to appear in every title block, in every design that we do, we want to make absolutely sure that we've removed any blocks so that we're not carrying any excess baggage here. And the other thing is I'd want to estimate or make sure that I understand that I've got a small file size. You might like to try the FS shortcut, because that tells me that the file size here is 15 kilobytes, which is absolutely tiny. So using this logo in lots of designs and lots of sheets is hardly going to take up any space at all. So that's my attempt at trying to provide a logo. We will put a palette of landscape logos available on the website for download at a later stage, and I'll include this one into it. It's a very good idea to test your logo out on both a white background, as we have here, and a dark background. So if we select view and let's look at it on a black background, we recommend that you draft with the background set black like this, and then just switch to the light color when you're doing previews in layout space. For long-term drafting, working with a dark background like this is a lot kinder on your eyes. So this design works reasonably well as a design on a black background and on a white background. I did have to change the colour of that rectangle, and I set it to colour 254. I had it originally set to white, and that didn't work as well. I'm just looking at it, and it's not quite centered. Is it the text, I think, that's not quite centered, so we'll select that text and just move it ever so slightly from one side to the other, and I'm a little happier with that. So I think we have a logo that will work reasonably well. Oh, I can see a little mistake in here. That line there, we really need to trim at that point. So let's do that, modify. A quick way to trim is to fill it with a vertex of 0. So if I pick that line and that line, and you see we've squared things up. Now the ground surface could be moved. I'll highlight that one and I'll move it perpendicular there, and then hit this one and I'll move it to the end point there. And you see how useful these entity snap modes are. So I haven't checked over the whole design thoroughly. Let's just do it. There's another opportunity to use a fillet, modify, fillet, pick these two and we're squared off, and let's go up here. That looks fine. So we can zoom extents. So there we have it. We have a logo design, works well enough on a white background or a dark background. It's going to work on a printed sheet in layout space and isn't going to take a lot of space in the finished design drawings. And hopefully that conjures up in the mind of potential clients our emphasis. We want to design sustainable landscapes, use plants to rehabilitate areas. We like constructed wetlands, and we recognise the importance that the sun drives all growth of these species. So I hope that helps in thinking about logos for your consultancy practice.